Hello, today in the lesson we will learn how to divide decimal fractions by an integer. To do this, let's look at the following example. 8 whole 4 decimals I will divide by 4. What do I need to do this? Of course, you and I know that I can divide an ordinary fraction by an ordinary fraction. Let's use this algorithm and then we'll break down the new algorithm. So I'm going to convert 8.4 to an improper fraction. I'll start by writing it down as a mixed number and then as an improper fraction. 8.4 decimals. I need to divide by 4. To divide a fraction by a fraction, I need to write it down as an improper fraction and then perform the action. 84/10 I divide by 4 first. What happens in this case? According to the rule of division, I have to invert the second fraction, or replace it with an inverse fraction and change the sign of division to multiplication. So I leave the first number, 84/10. Instead of the division sign, I will put the multiplication sign, and this fraction I will invert. It turns out to be 1/4. And now, according to the rules of multiplication of fractional numbers, I must multiply by the numerator and the denominator by the denominator. But in order not to get bigger numbers, first I'm going to reduce. 84 and 4 is reduced by 4. 4 divided by 4 would be 1, and 84 by 4 would be 21. The result is the number 21/10. Well, next I can isolate the whole part and write it as 2 whole fractions by 1/10. Well, and since we are dividing a decimal fraction, then write it as a decimal fraction, that is 2 whole fractions by 1/10. Basically, we have performed the division and the result is the fraction 2 whole 1/10. But this algorithm is very long. So there's another algorithm that will help you divide a decimal fraction by a natural number. How to do it? So let's divide by column. Let's write down 8.4 I'm going to divide by 4. Let's start dividing. It's very important when dividing a decimal by a whole number to divide the whole part first. So the whole part is 8. 8 I divide by 4. Very easy to do. The result is 2. So 2 I multiply by 4, that's 8. Doing the subtraction, 8 minus 8, that would be 0. I've got another number that I can write down, but a very important point, which is that in order to get to that 4, in order to write down that 4, I have to jump over our point. In order to do the division correctly, this point I have to write down. And now I can only drop the 4 and 4, I divide by 4. The result is 1. 1 multiplied by 4, that would be 4. And the result is 0. So when I divide 8.4 by 4, I get the answer 2.1. So in order to divide a decimal fraction by a natural number, we do this division in a column. But don't forget where we put our dot and separate the whole part from the fractional part. Let's go through one more example. So 256 point. 4/10 I'm going to divide by 2. I won't convert it into an ordinary fraction because the number is quite large. So I'll use the algorithm of division by column. So 256.4, I'll divide by 2. Again, I start with the whole part. I've got 256 in the whole part and I start dividing in stages, one step at a time. So 2 I can divide by 2. So I take one of each. I get 2. And then I drop in a 5. 5 divided by 2, I take 2 again. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. 6. 16 divided by 2, I take 8. 16. and I've got one sign left, that's 4/10, but to get to 4/10, I've got a point that I have to jump over, so I put that point in our quotient. So I've put a point, and only after that do I bring down our 4. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And then I end up with 0. So 256.4 divided by 2 is 128.2 tenths. That's how you divide a decimal fraction by an integer, by a whole number. In the next lesson, we will continue solving these examples. That's all for today. Goodbye. See you again.